Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Welcome to another new Pathfinder Paizo product showcase here. I've got a few things to show off, just a couple of the more recent releases for both Pathfinder and the Starfinder role-playing game here. Got some pretty cool stuff, and not a ton of things, but some really cool stuff nonetheless. And we're just going to kind of go through them here. So we're going to start with the only Starfinder item that I have, at least this time around. And that is a Starfinder flip mat. This is the one for grav trains, or gravity trains, gravity-defying trains here. Again, these maps are really, really cool, and I love the idea of doing like a train robbery or train heist scenario using these double-sided flip mats there. So really cool stuff with that. We also have a multi-pack for Pathfinder. This is the Underground City multi-pack. So these are subterranean maps that have like, well, we'll take a look here so you can kind of see what looks like a tavern kind of idea. Just some different locations that you can use. This would make for a really good dwarven like stronghold type of thing here. So really cool for that. And speaking of really cool stuff involving dwarven strongholds, we've got the first two parts of the three-part Sky King's Tomb adventure path here. We've got Mantle of Gold and Cult of the Cave Worm. Now, Cult of the Cave Worm just arrived just moments before I started recording this video, so I haven't had a chance to look through it yet. But I do know that Sky King's Tomb, Mantle of Gold, is going to be the next thing that I run for Pathfinder 2nd Edition once I wrap up my Crown of the Kobold King adventure that I'm currently running, because this is a really fantastic adventure path. The basic premise of it is that when the dwarves initially made their journey from deep in, below the surface up to the lands above, like where the Five Kings Mountains and stuff like that are, the High Helm stronghold that they have a source book for, which is really good to use with this adventure path as well. During the travels, the Dwarven King who was leading his people following this prophecy, they made a lot of enemies, and they committed basically some atrocities on their way from deep below the earth, trying to find the sky and the surface lands and the Five Kings Mountains. And ultimately, this is something that he grew to regret later in life. He declined the grand tomb that was being constructed for him by his people, and instead, when he got older, he took his clan dagger and he left to go back down into the world below, and creating his own hidden away tomb that was filled with some relics and items that are going to be potentially important to the dwarven people. The first adventure kind of starts with the player characters being invited to this dwarven festival, and this is where I'm going to segue my group into it, because the clan that's hosting this, they're really big on stories and legacy and things like that. And one of the players in my current Crown of the Kobold King is the Dwarven Ranger, whose personal motivation for being part of this adventure in the first place is to discover what happened to one of his missing clansmen. And so the discovery of what happened is going to be the story that will be useful for getting them into into High Helm to kind of be part of this festival, in which they'll be approached by a dwarf who has tried to expand the legacy of the dwarven kings that that was part of this, like going from this deep below up to the surface. I recorded a few videos already, so I'm starting to lose my voice. But his dagger was returned by a sentient cave worm to the people at High Helm, and he took this dagger and tried to add to its legacy, but almost immediately lost it. So the bulk of the campaign, or the first adventure here, is just the players helping this guy find the missing pieces of this dagger that he lost in a deep chasm. But I like the idea. I like the concept of like the cave worm, and the respect that was forged, the bond that was forged between the cave worm and the Dwarven King, as the cave worm initially tried to eat the Dwarven King, but now is fiercely protective of that king's loyalty, as well as individuals that worship this worm or others that just want the Dwarven treasures for their own nefarious purposes. A really cool looking adventure path, and one I cannot wait to start running, and I will be running once I wrap up the Crown of the Kobold King. So we have that. Up next, we do have another accessory here, one that I'll be doing a video on very, very shortly. But this is the Pathfinder Hero deck. So the Hero deck, and it just says on the back here, find your future, divine your destiny with the Pathfinder Hero deck, the legendary fortune-telling deck of Pathfinder's Age of Lost Omens setting. This 54-card full-color set of fortune-telling cards. You'll learn how to include the hero. You'll learn how to include the hero in any tabletop RPG game, and enhance play with the immersive fortune-telling methods. Okay, so this again, I'm trying to read this from a distance, small print. But yeah, this looks really, really cool. I love the packaging as well because it's got this sort of like foil quality to it that looks really, really nice. So yeah, looking forward to this. The Hero deck also plays a really big role in the Stolen Fates adventure path, which involves like the Hero cards and reconstructing the deck and stuff like that. So again, really awesome stuff. Can't wait to have a look at that. And then the final thing here is the hardcover Rage of Elements book. So this is your elemental supplement book. It discusses the elemental planes and kind of how they function and how they all sort of work together, how they bleed from one into another. And it also gives you a new class to play, which we'll take a look at here in a future video as well. But it gives you the Kineticist class. And this class is actually pretty cool. Like when I do the description of the character class, I'll probably also make a character for it and just sort of show some of the abilities that it can do. But again, just a really, really cool book. The elements here, they're not just like earth, air, fire, and water. It also includes metal and wood. And you can also have like a hybrid abilities. If you're focused on like two of these elements, you can actually gain some abilities that are like a combination of both of those elements. So again, it's a really, really cool class. One of the few classes in Pathfinder that has Constitution as their key ability score or attribute. But yeah, just really, really cool stuff. It also gives you information on the different elemental planes, including elemental lords, which gives you like their avatar abilities if you cast the avatar spell and you are sort of devout follower of them. Just again, some really cool stuff, new spells, new items, new abilities for your character to use. There is also a quarter genie, I think, or djinn ancestry or heritage. Sorry, it's a heritage that can be used for any of the ancestries that are out there as well. Just some really, really cool stuff. So this book, definitely worth checking out. There is also a pocket edition of this as well, I believe. So if you're looking to get it at a slightly lower cost, that will be an option for you there as well. But anyway, that was my look at the newest releases for Paizo over the last little bit. So I'm recording this video on September 1st, but I think this is basically September and August, or August and July releases here. It does take a few weeks for them to reach me here in Nova Scotia, but some really awesome stuff. And definitely be doing some videos on the Hero deck going forward, as well as the Rage of Elements book, and I'll be discussing the adventure path once I start running it as well. Anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Until then, take care.